marketing, you're learning from world leaders. And so, like, it's a value add if they contribute, but FAB Academy, as we know it, this group can absolutely do. And so I want to make that distinction. Kenny's not in the critical path. You can add value, but I'm not betting the farm on how much time and attention you get. And it's also going to vary across the people.
So Neil, the structure, so we're still going to run the structure, we do reviews, so that would be run by the global instructors, and then a lecture by
what I was saying was, it's going to be tag team, and that's going to vary. So
depending on which week it is? So
yes, meaning for each, so I'll set up a framework to start lining up both the global instructors and the global faculty. And so, to take that example, large format machining, Tom will talk about wood, Tony will talk about tooling, but then Hank is somebody who lives and breathes ShopBot, will be involved in how you actually do this in the Fab Lab. We'll put together these groups. Then each group will divide up the topics for the class, and each group will participate in the student review. And the ratio will vary. Again, Nadia or Sophia can do the whole thing by themselves. Tom and Tony is going to need to lead heavily on Hank, just to use that example. And so it'll vary each week.
Yeah. So vary who's doing what each week. I get that. But is the structure of the class each week going to be
the structure is the structure we know and love. There's no need to change that.
good? That'll be important to communicate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are they developing anything?
So again, to Luciana's question, the day I get back, I'll start shepherding. And each group will go to, when we go to computer-controlled machining, we start with this site, and then more and less the groups preparing will say, well, this is Web 1.0, and we can supplement, and we can add some more stuff. And so, it'll be up to each group to decide, how they want to refresh. And I'll be keeping an eye on the refresh. A big part of my curation will be this ability to distill down to something you can learn and practice in a week. And we don't want to either make it not usable or make it so abstract it goes over your head. And that's part of what I'll be keeping an eye on. But yeah, so as soon as we get back, I'll start putting all of this together, we start marketing it. And it's an opportunity to resell FAB Academy, a non-incremental opportunity.
Just as a question, if V1 goes well, is there a strategy for retention or recruitment of like year 2, year 3, or 4 for the global faculty?
No way to answer that because we just don't know how this will go. That's scenario planning for many different scenarios, and just can't do that for them.
I think we'll just be able to have that selling point, Neil, of like, we're always going to have global leaders teaching this class. So I think that's the selling in the comms. If anyone's asking about future years, is the names might change, but they're still going to be leaders in their fields.
The format of your learning from global leaders is central to how this is work. Okay.
I think we need a little bit more diversity in the global institutes.
Well, but
and also if you look at the numbers over the years, it shifted from northern countries to southern countries, the amount of students also. But I think it's also important to keep that in account.
So for the diversity of the global instructors, help me with that, meaning that the definition is the two parts. One is you have to have been an instructor for many years, And the second is you have to in some way emerge as a leader some way in Khan Academy that, you know, people who really just clearly are leading. And so help me fill out the list.
So I think we have to keep an eye on it once we are starting to.
But I think that's a multi-year issue. I mean, look around the room, you have the quality issue right here. So that, but if we recognize it, then we can work on it. And I think it's a
Yeah.
multi-year thing we need to all work on.
And then, I mean, lurking in your question is a really interesting thing about developing this cohort of, you know, identifying. It's not segregating instructors, but it's identifying people who are growing, you know, from this local into this global role, helping to mentor and developing them is lurking in your question. Okay, that's the first topic. Second topic, Wasi, while we're on it, I wanted to check in with Koshi here about the idea of custom versions of FAB Academy.
Yeah, for to sell the academy, are you considering to compete against the industry based on the MBA contract, which I did with FAB Academy last year, this year,
Yeah.
and it went very well. So
And so, well, there's two directions. One is industry groups enrolling in the FAB Academy as we know it. But the other is, so if we go back to this global instructor group, the global instructor group could absolutely teach customized versions. You know, if you wanted to have an in-house Toyota version in bite-sized pieces with cherry-pick part of the schedule, you know, this is a group that could put that together now.
not whole course, but
Well, I'm saying both are interesting. So, let's see, we're talking about actually three different things.